I'm 26 and live in the quiet suburbs. I work late and spend most of my time gaming all night. A few months ago, I was having a stressful week and couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I decided to take a walk. I loved walking late. It felt like I had the whole town to myself, which used to feel calming. I grabbed my hoodie and headed out, leaving the townhomes for the older, quieter houses. I walked further than usual, letting the silence de-stress me, until the street abruptly narrowed. The road led to much older, more spread out houses, hidden deep in a wooded area. The street lights were dimmer, farther apart, and the houses I could glimpse looked neglected, almost abandoned. I felt a slight, immediate unease, but kept going. Maybe half a mile in, the silence was violently broken. I heard a scream. It was a male voice, echoing strangely through the woods, not sounding like a call for help, but a sound meant to grab attention. I froze, waiting 30 seconds, seeing nothing before continuing, too unsettled to turn back. The street grew more dilapidated. I was starting to believe I was walking through an abandoned neighborhood. Then I heard the scream again. It was the same, but closer, and I was almost sure it came from behind me. I spun around. The dim light barely illuminated the road. Every small movement in the dark felt like a lurking presence. I knew I had to leave. I walked quickly, trying to get out of the woods. A minute later, the scream erupted again, right where I had just come from. I must have walked right past them while they were hiding in the trees. I turned and looked. There was a man on the road, wearing all dark clothes, walking toward me. I only looked for a second before turning and sprinting. I looked back several times, but the man was gone. Where the hell did he go? I made it out of that strange wooded area and back to my townhome, breathing hard, definitely not de-stressed. I went to the kitchen for water, then sat down to catch my breath. That's when I heard it. A shuffling sound outside my front door, followed by a sudden, heavy knock. I crept to the door, peering out through the peephole. No porch light, just pitch black and a dark figure standing there. He was wearing dark clothing. I was nearly positive it was the same guy. I backed away, calling 911, hoping he'd stay long enough for the police to catch him and give me some answers about those screams. The man knocked 5 or 6 more times. Then the silence returned. He was gone before the officers arrived. They took a report, but nothing came of it. Over the next month, the paranoia became reality. I kept waking up to loud, disturbing knocks at my front door, only to find no one there when I checked. I was close to being part of something awful that night. A couple of years ago, I was driving for Lyft, mostly doing long, late-night shifts. I was often one of the only drivers out, so I was on autopilot, accepting requests instantly and figuring out the details later. This night, around 1 or 2 a.m., a request came in that quickly felt different. The map was taking me away from the city center, into an isolated location with literally nothing around. No houses, no side roads, just sparse forest. I waited at the pickup spot, notified the customer, and got no response. A bad feeling was building, so I canceled and started driving back toward town. Wasted time, but part of the job. 5 minutes later, I got another order. Almost the exact same spot, just a mile further down the road. I chalked it up to a GPS mistake and accepted it, glad the drive wouldn't be a total waste. I drove back past the first spot and continued another mile. This time, there was a man standing on the side of the road. He opened the door and got in. I couldn't figure out where he came from. There was nothing for miles. The drop-off spot was only 5 minutes away, but it was just as barren as the pickup. As I drove, the man was quiet, but he was watching me in the rear view mirror constantly. I started overthinking everything. The duffel bag, the remote location, and his unsettling gaze. We reached the drop-off spot. Nothing around. The silence in the car and outside was deafening. Before I could say a word, the man spoke. "Get out of the car." I glanced back. He already had a gun pointed right at me, his eyes unnervingly blank and dead. I had no choice. He followed me out, keeping his distance, and led me off the road into the forest. I tried talking, truly terrified, but he remained silent, showing no remorse. We walked deeper and deeper into the dark, dense woods for what felt like 10 minutes. I knew I was moments away from never being seen again. When he suddenly told me to stop, my adrenaline surged. I didn't stop. I bolted deeper into the trees, using the darkness as cover. He yelled, "Stop!" But I kept running. Then, the silence was shattered by a gunshot. It rang through the entire forest. He wasn't chasing me anymore. I think he fired out of rage. I walked for hours until I found a small road and got help. My car and everything in it were gone. The police found nothing. The account was a dead end. But I don't believe this was just a simple robbery. For months, I kept getting pickup requests near that same spot. I became so paranoid that I quit. I know that man took me out there for a reason far darker than a car theft. It was a rainy Sunday. I was tired and decided to drive out for fast food around 10 p.m. As I drove back up to my house, I noticed something strange. With all the fog and the rain and every other house being dark, the single light shining from my upstairs bedroom window stood out starkly. I was sure I'd turned off every light, and I hadn't even been upstairs all day. Too tired to process it, I pulled into the driveway. Once inside, I dropped off my food and sluggishly went upstairs. I got to the top of the steps and immediately woke up. None of the upstairs lights were on. I walked into my room, looking around, questioning what I thought I saw. It had to be a reflection, a trick of the light. I went back downstairs, ate, and dozed off on the couch. I kept waking up with an unsettling feeling, like eyes were on me. I looked around, eventually turning on the living room lights, but the corner of the room that led to the dark stairwell remained a shadowy, creepy void. The feeling persisted. I finally got up to turn on the hallway lights and get ready for bed. I was at the bottom of the stairwell when a light suddenly turned off. It was unmistakably a light from the upstairs room. I felt that sinking gut feeling, but driven by disbelief, I continued up the steps. I peered into the dark room. The lingering feeling of being watched intensified. I took a few steps in and shakily called out, "Hello." I flipped the bedroom light on. I looked toward the hallway and confirmed the light turning off was real. Just as the realization solidified, something moved in the corner of my eye. The bedroom closet door cracked open slightly. Through the gap, I saw a face looking back at me. The man shoved the door open and stepped out. He didn't run at me. He walked toward me, his smile disturbing and unkempt, almost like he knew me. I screamed, bolted downstairs, and ran straight out of the house. As I stood outside in the rain, calling the police, I watched him run out the front door and disappear down the road. The police found the back door broken. The handle and lock were completely bashed. He had been inside my house all night while I was downstairs. Nothing was missing, so why he broke in and hid in my room, I'll never know. But the light turning off, that was the key. He was turning off the lights to maintain the illusion that I was still alone. I haven't felt safe since, knowing he's still out there.